joins me now on a busy Sunday morning. House Democratic Leader Nancy Pelosi, it's very good to see you.
Good morning.
I want to talk about presidential leadership here. You know, growing up, it was always the leader of the Western world, and now we're the world's only superpower. And yet the president is taking a lot of criticism at this point for seeming to be sitting on the sidelines. He's out fundraising, and the whole world seems to be blowing up. And I know you were with him at a couple of these fundraisers. So, you know, the optics of this, and you know, photo ops matter. Optics matter. Have they aired at the White House on this?
First of all, let me disagree with the, when we were growing up, you after me, but we were in a bipolar world with the Soviet Union and the United States. It's a much more complicated situation now, and the president's leadership has been very strong. In the issues that you're dealing with this morning, the president was in the lead on supporting Iron Dome and asking for more resources now to help Israel defend itself, which it has a right to do. In the lead for asking for humanitarian assistance for the Palestinian people, something like $47 million to go through the UN to help those, calling upon others to help negotiate not only a ceasefire, but a peace there. The president and Secretary Kerry's presence there is a manifestation of the president's commitment, because it's a sustained, high-level commitment of the Secretary of State representing the administration. When it came to the Ukraine, the president early on called for sanctions, and then last Wednesday, before the plane was even shot down, the president asked for sector sanctions, even stronger ones.
But the notion that Putin sort of sized up President Obama and said, he backed off on Syria. He's playing footsie with Iran. He's a softy. He's not going to stop me. Has anything happened that should dissuade Putin from that?
Putin is going to do what Putin is going to do, and it won't add up in terms of statesmanship or leadership. As the president has said, Russia is now a regional power. Some of what we see comes from insecurity. Putin, for all of his, is insecure about Russia's role in the world now. What's happened in eastern Ukraine with the shooting, to begin with, the aggression, and then the complicity. And by the way, the administration early on getting out there and saying we had the intelligence to say that these rockets had a provenance in Russia, as well as the ability to launch them. So nobody's missing in action on all of this. And as far as Putin is concerned, he's a KGB guy who happens to be the president of Russia, and he's going to do what he is going to do, no matter who else is in charge any other place in the world. So I would not judge his actions or his motivations by anything other than he is rooted in the KGB, insecure about Russia's diminished role in the world.
Right, and so, but certainly causing waves globally at this point. I want to move you to the Middle East and ask you your comfort level with what you're seeing on television. Again, the headlines versus the ground.
Well, again, as we all have said, any country has a right to defend itself when it is under assault, and so too does Israel. You've been there, you know the proximity. Everything is very, very close to each other, and so a threat is a proximate threat. It's right there. Again, I repeat that thank God for Iron Dome, which has diminished the casualties that would have been caused if these missiles were coming in.
Do you think they've gone too far? Does it look as though Israel has gone too far? You heard Ben Rhodes from the president's deputy national security advisor, who said, well, we've told them we think they could be doing more. Should Israel be doing more to protect civilians in Gaza?
Well, war is a deadly thing, and I have many Palestinians who live in my district, and I'm hearing from them regularly about how their families are affected, who live in the region. It's a terrible thing. But let me just say that any missile that comes from someplace has a return address. And if Israel is responding to that address, then it's a shame that the Palestinians are using, are rumored to be using children and families as shields for their missiles. Should we all try to, first of all, avoid conflict? The Hamas initiated this. So again, this has to be something where we try to have the two-state solution, that we have to support. We have to support Abbas and his role as leader there. We have to support Iron Dome to protect the Israelis from the missiles. We have to support the Palestinians and what they need. And we have to confer with the Qataris, who have told me over and over again that Hamas is a humanitarian organization. Maybe they could use their influence to
the U.S. thinks they're a terrorist organization, though, correct to you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we've had that discussion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have to leave it there. We will come back and we will talk politics and midterm and all kinds of things going on in the House.
Well, I think it's important to note, though, that through all of this, the Republicans are trying to sue the president on a path to impeach the president, while we're trying to create jobs and have stability in our country and in the world. And I'm sorry that we didn't get a chance to talk more about that.
We will do that the next time, I promise. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Vladimir Putin's approval is sky high in Russia. Does that make him immune to the effects of Western sanctions? Senator Lindsey Graham is next.